Well, this is the beginning of the journey. Fortunately, the bike has arrived. So now it's just a question of getting it out of the box and assembling. We're in a taxi going towards Barcelona Sants. It's incredibly hot work assembling the bike in the airport. Okay, well, we made it to Barcelona Sants. This is the scene that I am greeted by, blooming hot. Anyway, I'm going to go in there and see if I can get a ticket. I think the train I'm going to catch is the 24 minutes past 1 train. Well, I'm on the platform waiting for my train. There's the departure board. We're Ripoll at 29 minutes to. Anyway, here we are, slice of life at Barcelona Sants. A bit more mountainous now. Okay, well, I've made it to Ripoll, and as we approach Ripoll, the heavens open. I have got to put the GPS thing on the bike, and then I'll find a shop because I probably ought to get a few provisions, water and snacks, I think, for the journey. And then I guess I'll cycle to Barga. Just had a bit of a pit stop at this supermarket here. Bought a few provisions, and I've got to go over there now. Well, it's bright enough now to take a picture of the town. This is Ripoll, and I managed to go herring off in the wrong direction, which is normal because it's raining and I couldn't operate my phone because my hands were wet. That's my excuse. So instead of going to Camp Devernol, I ended up going to Camprodon, down a very major road, and as soon as I saw a sign saying it's 22 kilometres away, I thought that's the wrong place because it's only supposed to be like 2 or 3 kilometres. I'm hoping I'm going to pick up my little breadcrumb trail. I'm not seeing it yet. So anyway, I've just gone through. This line would be active were it not for the fact that they're doing works on it. That line in that direction, that would have gone up to La Molina. Okay, this is Gombrien. It's a bit overcast. It's slightly chilly, but not too bad. What's this? Is this steam, dust, or is it the clouds? This is hail on the floor. Weird. Ah, yes, cloud. And all that white stuff, that's the hail. Weird. So there's a bit of a descent here. And it's just astonishing the, you know, after coming out of Barcelona, which was absolutely roasting. I mean, it was so hot. It was 30 plus, you know, and in the sun it was even, of course, it was hotter. And I don't know whether you can see the mountainsides because you're facing forward, but I'm looking down into the valley on the left, and the ground is, yeah, it's white. It's covered in hail. Anyway, it's a bit nippy, actually. Very nippy indeed. Okay, so we've reached a town called Fonts de Llobregat. Nice little river here in the town. I might just stop and you can have a look. There's two colours. Two geologies eroding and joining together in the river. I'm here. Let's find a hotel or something. Well, I made it to Barga and I got a hotel room. Let's see. Just open the door. What have we got? The Pyrenees. Well, we're in the heart of the Pyrenees. First hotel I tried, it was booked. It was all full. And then I came here and he had this room, so I took it. But, oh God, I was feeling really tired actually towards the end of that run. I thought it would never end actually, and because I wasn't using bike roads, the experience is very unpleasant. You know, cars whizzing past, and it's not good. Anyway, I'm going to get myself sorted out. Dinner's at 9.
Let's go and take a look at the breakfast. This is the restaurant, by the way. So in Spain, in this part of Spain, you're basically confronted with a lot of meat and cheese. So I've had quite a few slices of that. It's really strong, tough Serrano ham, I guess, or whatever ham it is here. And then there's a few bits of fruit and so on. So I have feasted on that. Right, I've got to try and work out how to get out of Barga on the right route. It's rather difficult. That was the hotel I stayed at, Cal Amagat. I think I'll go along the river. I think that's a good policy. Let's try this. It says I'm off route, but I don't know which way I'm supposed to go. The river's down there. Can't be too far off, can I? Okay. I've made it. My Spanish is terrible. Okay, the silence of the mountains. I've just started to climb out of Barga. Well, this is the Transpirenaica. I spoke to the hotel manager. He said that there is nothing to eat or drink apart from maybe 2 places, one of which is not far away, and the other one is a long way away. It's called Tuixent, and that I'll probably get there about lunchtime. Well, there's that little red arrow pointing to the first off-road section of the Transpirenaica that I'm about to do. I thought it's a momentous occasion. So yeah, climbed out of Barga down this valley here with very steep hills on both sides, along tarmac, and literally no traffic. It's very, very peaceful. Oh, well, I've got to go up there. I've just come up here and starting to be right on the edge of the bike, really tipping up. I've seen a few walkers around. Lots of hiking trails around here. Well, can you imagine living there? What an incredible view, and totally peaceful. Got a little rocky promontory. I'm heading this way. Well, I'm just on a switchback. I'm sort of learning how to handle these hills. Just noticed that the lens is a bit dirty. So basically, cleaning up a bit. Better? So yeah, I'm pulling up a lot more to get over the very steep sections, and it also means that I'm not sort of pulling on the handlebars quite so much, which has the result of tipping the front wheel off, and then I can't steer, and then I'm worried I'm going to fall off or something. So it's a learning process. There's the hill I've just come up, and I'm carrying on around there, and I guess I'll go on a switchback further over. It's pretty hot. My mouth is very dry, even though I'm keeping hydrated. I'm going to be on my next bottle soon.
Stunning view though, yeah? Time for a breather. Not sure how far away I am from a town, but that's going to be pretty important, I think, so that I can rehydrate. I'm getting through quite a lot of water. I better go because I haven't really managed to get very far. I've got about 13 or 14 kilometres today. That's not much because it's so arduous, the terrain. So, okay, I think I might have finished this climb. It's been brutal. Some of the last section I just had to push, and I thought, when am I going to stop pushing? Just take some time to look at that. You see that sort of bare brown patch? That's that house I took a picture of, I filmed earlier. So in the last hour or so I've climbed all this height, and it's pretty tough, I have to say. I've had a bite to eat. I feel a lot better, but I'm just climbing and climbing and climbing. It's kind of relentless. I've got about 2 litres of water. There's no chance I'll be able to get any up here, so hopefully that'll tide me over. I have to say, now I've eaten, my mouth is less dry. I was beginning to get a little bit of double vision in my right eye, I think. So I thought, that's telling me to stop. Anyway, straight ahead. Shade. I need shade. I must say, I'm feeling very daunted by all of this. It really takes it out of you. That's where I'm going. Between those two hills. It's pretty knackered. Let's keep going though. Well, this is what lies ahead. Looks like a fairly gentle gradient up to the pass. This is what you see. My mind is full of doubts. It's because it's so hard. I mean, I'm having to push some sections. I mean, I'm on my last bladder now of water. Okay, so I refilled this bottle out of this bladder which I filled from the tap. That's how much I've got left in there. So it's probably about 2 litres. There's another litre in there. So hopefully that will get me across this hill. Hello cows, sorry to interrupt. There they go, scooting past. Well, mercifully everything's flattened out. I'm very pleased about that. Just goes to show that, you know, you put in the work and then you get the reward at the end of it. It isn't interminable, so I'm glad about that. We can actually get into a few higher gears and make some ground. Feels good. After all that climbing and water worries, I'll be able to put all that behind me as soon as I find a tap. Oh God, that feels good. It's completely deserted up here. It's just cows, pasture, no hotels or anything, no restaurants. I've just come down this hill and it sort of goes, that road goes through that boom gate, and I think it's down there, which is really weird. Now we're into off-road, big time. So this genuinely is Transpirenaica off-road, to the point where you can't even ride it, actually. Certain gullies which I've had to clamber over. I've found this little refuge here. I think I'll go on the grass, actually. Just about holding up on the brakes. That's Tushent, and I'm definitely going to have a drink if I can, and possibly some food. Yeah, I'll probably get some food. Bit of quality time, because I had a few low points actually climbing that hill. I just thought, oh my god, this is really hard, and I'm not sure I'm up to it. I'll have to see how I go. I'm not, you know. Anyway, this is the beauty of this kind of bike. It just does everything. It does everything. You know, it can survive those hills, no problem. You're not going to get punctures. It's not going to break on you. And yeah, you can also cope alright on the tarmac. It wasn't Tushent, it was Hosa de Cadiz. Tushent is another 6 kilometres. Just wanted to clear that up. Woo! Oh yeah. Oh, this is more like it. I couldn't resist it. Tushent is just over there, but this is so cool. Oh god. Just found this beautiful place to bathe. I tell you, it's so hot on those mountains, and this is so cool. Feels good. Well, I've just stopped at this place here in Tushent, where I had ice cream and fizzy drinks and water. Apparently there's a tap over there, so I'm going to fill up. And I've checked. I'm going to head on to Novas de Segre, see if I can get there. And but it's beautiful here. I just sort of wish I was staying here, but I can't. I've got to get going. So I'm going to get the water and get going. Let's do it. Better than dying of dehydration, isn't it? In some lonely mountainside. Heading towards Novas de Segre. It's 4:30. Very hot, and sorely tempted to have another cafe break, but I resisted the temptation. Okay, piece to camera. I've just been climbing steadily out of the previous valley. I'm still on switchbacks going up. In fact, this one will go around the plunging nose of the mountain, and that's the road I've come up down there. It's heartening though to see how quickly you climb out of the valley. I was down at the valley bottom only about, I don't know, a quarter of an hour ago. So, well, it's nearly 6 o'clock, and I've just made it to the top of the tarmacked col. But because it's the Transpirenaica, this is what I'm greeted with. Instead of that road, I've got to go down here now, and I hope it's not the right hand turn, I hope it's the left, because I've had enough of climbing. Anyway, at least I'll have a break, I think, and then get going. Okay, so this is the descent. So it's tarmac up to the top and off-road back down again. So, you know, I'm just trying to take it a little easy because, you know, the panniers at the back, they're not really very happy about bouncing around like this. My aim then is to get to Novas de Segura. If it's all downhill, that's not really going to be a problem. I think it's another 6 kilometres, something like that, I don't know. I think it's around that, between 6 and 10. And there is a cow, they call them cows, I don't really know what that means, but they're like basic hotels, I suppose. Not really sure. Descent continues. That looks quite encouraging. That could easily be Novas de Segura actually in the distance. So let's keep on plugging away and hopefully. Well, this is a bit of a nonsense having to go down this road. Horrible. Just saw fork lightning over in the distance. You just missed it. Oh, this is a junction. Probably got to turn left here. Yeah. Bit of a schlep actually. Whoa, there's some more. Fork lightning. Well, it has just started raining. I mean, there's been lightning strikes all around. It's pretty dramatic. And that cow is just over there, so I'm nearly I'll wait for a lull in the rain and probably put my raincoat on. We'll see whether they've got somewhere for me to stay. Okay, so things didn't work out at Novas de Segura. 0 hotels. I mean, I went to Cal Palares, knocked on the door, no answer, and eventually I opened the door and there was a sort of French family inside, and I asked them whether there was a room because I thought they owned the hotel, but they said that the proprietor's next door. So I went next door and they were an old couple and they just sort of spoke in Spanish and shook their heads, no. But while I was there also, there's a man in an off-road vehicle who got out and he knew a little bit of French. But he said, go to this place in Novas de Segura, there'll be rooms. I think that's what he said. So I went there. There was no hotel or anything. No sign of a hotel. And then this young couple came out of a block of flats. And I asked them. They said, no hotels. So then I thought, well, okay, I'll just carry on. And maybe if I get to a remote enough area, I can just sling the hammock up and sleep. Trouble is, it's the journey on from there, and tomorrow there may not be any water. But immediately I thought, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare. But then I came across this, literally as I was thinking that. Agua y garantía sanitaria. I will check that, but it sounds to me like this is going to be sanitized, sanitary water. So I'm going to really load up with water and then head into the mountains and maybe eat my food and sling the hammock up. So I'll let you know how I get on. So it's cassoulet cooked roadside. You can't see anything. It's 7 o'clock. I've got to get going because I am actually on a hiking trail and one of my guy lines is actually on the path. Anyway, this is where I slept last night. One of the issues I've had is that my hammock is longer than the tarp, which was a
shame. I guess I didn't really check that before I left, but it rained a bit, but it's going to be fine. That's where I had my dinner last night. In fact, I probably ate too much. It was too many beans and sausages and little lumps of fat. But it's going to stand me in good stead for the day's climbing. Weather-wise, everything looks nice. The sky's clear. I'm going to get dressed and I'm going to tidy this whole lot up, pack it, and we are going to go on a bike ride. Ready. There's the Wildcat. Solar panel mounted, ready for some hot weather. The sun's up. That was where I wandered up to my little stop for the night. It was okay. I mean, I got through it and I had some sleep. Bit of a faff though. I mean, you know, I haven't got it very streamlined. The whole kind of unpacking and setting up and then taking down again. I suppose that comes with experience. So we're heading up here, up that valley, and there's going to be a sort of wild mountain route. Won't see any civilization for a while, so I shall just plug away. I mean, it's 8:30, so it's not very early. It took me a while to get going, but anyway, let's see how we go and enjoy the ride. Well, it's been constant climbing out of the valley, so it's been a pretty tough start to the morning. I hope I'm not steaming you up. So, I think these are lava flows, by the way, ancient lava flows, if you must know. Very red. So, it's very peaceful, only a couple of cars. Anyway, it continues. High enough to be in a pasture zone. I suppose it's because things are flattened off, so there's opportunities to create fields. Let's have a look around here. I'll try and explain to you. Oh, unbelievable descent. Oh, and bins. I need to use those bins. Yeah, so, oh, that's nice, isn't it? That's expansive field. So, oh, it turns off road now. Anyway, I'm going to use these bins, get rid of that stuff I used last night. So this is Casoval. Not much here. There's a cat and some chickens. So picture this maybe 100 years ago. I mean, the track that I came down, which was, I came up actually around that hillside and along a track on the other side of the valley, and then I crossed around there and came up here. I mean, there's no shop. It's just totally remote. But there is a little church here, so they've got somewhere to go to atone for their many sins. It's a shame there's no shop. I could have done with a posh drink, like, you know, Fanta or something. But I have to make do with spring water. In fact, there's no spring here. It's stuff that I filled up ages ago, last night, in fact. Hello. What's it like living up here? Is it pretty remote? Yeah, there is a better life. Well, maybe not for a cat. Oh well. I've got a new friend. Meow. Okay, I better go. Get on. So this is a very high altitude, well not very high, but yes, this is a higher altitude main road that I'm going down after climbing up out of that valley. So nice to get a change of activity, and I've still got to go up hills and so on. So, well, in an attempt to try and cut a corner, I was going along this path and it's a big switchback and it's burning hot, and I just saw a mountain bike track, so I've just tried to cut the corner. Of course I had to get up this slope here, which meant I had to take the pannier bags off and scramble up the bike. Anyway, everything's fine. Well, I toiled my way up that really rocky track, combination of cycling and pushing. My legs absolutely knackered, and then I've come across this stream here and I had to have a quick bathe just to sort of refresh myself, cool my legs, just get some energy back, and I feel better. I'm really hopeful that the next part of the journey is a switch back up this abandoned, rather grand looking house here, and then there'll be some sort of descent, and it would be, well, wouldn't it be lovely if there was a cafe where I could have some really nice drink, but I won't hold my breath. Anyway, very pleasant. So I have just been slogging my way. Oh look, there's the white and red. Slogging my way along this track, heading in this direction. Actually, the track's become a bit better now, and that's basically because down there's a bunch of RVs parked up, so they have to have a better road surface. Anyway, I thought this looked quite interesting steeple actually. Very quiet though. It's a shame, between the trees there's a sort of hazy silhouette of the valley on the other side. Of course it looks very high over there, doesn't it? I'm heading north actually, so we're sort of facing the much higher peaks. I'm heading eventually towards Lavorsy, kind of hoping that the major climbing's over, but I doubt it. So on we go. Things are looking up. I managed to find this restaurant. It's very basic, but I've just had some soup.
There's a lot of boarding.
Oh, okay.
If you want to repeat, just ask it.
I will. Thank you. So there's a lot of bone in it. Well, he's pretty good. He's bony. You can have some more if you want. But you know, I've got red wine, drink. So this is perfect. Well, it appears to be the way with this trip that the morning to midday, early afternoon is Scotchio, and incredibly difficult to cycle. And then in the evening, or afternoon to evening, it's thundery, and there's the odd spot of rain. So it makes it cooler, and especially because I'm happily going downhill, but it means that it's a bit chillier, what with the wind cooling me down. Oh, come on. Oh, I don't know what's happening now. This thing's just starting up when I turn it on, and then turns off after 3 minutes. Oh, maybe that's a new feature. Weird things. Anyway, so I just had a really steep rocky descent. My hands are cramping because of it. Raining, thunder, but anyway, still going down. Well, I've just been descending constantly. I mean, I think, you know, those hills right at the top, I have come down from them, and it's still so steep. I mean, that gorge down there, it's scary steep. I believe that is the road I'm heading towards, ultimately. So I've still got a lot of descending to do. Well, there's the path I've just come down, and finally made it to the road. Let it be known that that path is a complete git. You need a really good brakes and suspension if you could. Anyway, I'm going to go to Lavorsy now, see if I can just burn it on this road. So this is what I'm confronted with. Massive deep gorges, a river on the left. So I've got another 7 or 8 kilometres to go. Okay. This thing's behaving very strangely, but anyway, I've got my room in a hostel in Lavorsy. Little bath, and then I've even got a little terrace, and here's the river, and that is Lavorsy sort of main town. So yeah, very happy I'll be able to get showered up and cleaned. Sorry, when I did the Rad Pyrenean, I wasn't very forthcoming with how I felt about the ride, and it started well today. It was blisteringly hot, and then when I started the off-road section, it was you know, a lot of doubts crept in, because, you know, I could not cycle up a lot of the sections, and I was pushing the bike, and I was sort of thinking, if this is going to be what it's like all day, I'm not sure I'm going to make it here to Lavorsy. And I was looking at the map, I was thinking, God, it's uphill and it's off-road, it's going to be disastrous. Well, I think when I had my little stream dunk, I felt a bit better, and it sort of made me feel a bit better about things, I suppose. And then after that, everything got better, and it surprised me that the descent was just so long. I mean, there was no climbing; it was just endless descent, which was great. You know, I thought, yeah, this is great. Keep descending. I don't want any more uphill. But actually, then the descent got pretty tough as well because of all the rocks. It was sort of metamorphic rock, and it was, you know, there were great shards of it sticking out, not just stones, you know, actual bedrock, and you know, I couldn't go down too fast, mainly because I'm carrying the panniers, and I don't want anything to break. You know, if the panniers break or the rack or whatever, then it's really going to be problematic. But everything stayed on, thankfully. But you know, that was continuous braking on and off for well over half an hour to an hour, I would have thought. And then this final blast along the road to Lavorsy was fairly benign. So yeah, it sort of worked out quite nicely because I've got this nice hotel, and so we'll see how we can go tomorrow. Could be another real git. I mean, just pushing the bike up the hills is just a complete nightmare. In fact, if I had to ride up some of the things I cycled down today, whoa, I think I'd have to find the nearest train station, get the hell out of here.
So anyway, I'm going to see how I get on tomorrow. I'll check out the route, see how. I mean, we're heading into the high altitude Pyrenees here, so let's see how we get on. But I actually feel pretty good, really, considering. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Well, it's morning in Lavosi. Haven't had a particularly good sleep. I've just been checking the map, and I'm heading down that road between those two hills for some distance on this main road, and then I take a left and go straight up into the hills. So I've been looking at the map, and I think a lot of this is going to be pretty high altitude and very remote, which isn't really a surprise. So again, well, actually weather-wise, yeah, that's important. Okay, morning it's going to be a bit like this, you know, sunny, and then it looked like it was going to be showers at lunchtime, but you know, the weather reports always belie what actually happens. We've got just over 2 litres in that, I think. 1.5 in that, and 1.5 in that. Let's hope it's enough. Right, well look, I'm going to go and get some breakfast. Well, this is the view I have of the hotel from ground level on the bridge. I'm going to be heading in that direction. That's Lavosi in the sunshine, morning sun. Hydroelectric going on here. That's back down the valley, that's where I came last night. So let's get going into the mountains. For fuck's sake. Okay, here we are on the road again, and we're riding on this main road down the valley. Just left Lavosi, pretty town. So there's a lot of whitewater rafting around here. Whew. There's a nice fresh breeze, there's fresh mountain air. When you get into these shaded sections, there's a kind of a chill. Bike's feeling good. Doesn't seem to be any issue. Well, I've just turned off that road briefly, having gone through the tunnel, and this is where I'm going now. It's the Val de Baisca, and there's very remote village. Still climbing this kind of road early in the day. It's just quite pleasant, really. Just look. This is our estui, clinging to the side of the mountain. Hola.
Hola. Screw. Me cago nessa puta ali. Adeu.
Is that dog going to attack me? Oh, there he is. Oh, there's a cat. Our estui. So, that's the view they wake up to every day. There's the road. I don't even know, is that woman talking to anybody? I could hear her all the way down the valley.
this way. So I've just come around the corner from the village of Arestui, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be going here, up where that grass slope is. That's where I'm heading. It's rather a daunting prospect. Well, we've left the road now and we're on a rubble track, so let's see how we fare. I'm just going to take it easy as I can anyway. Well, I've made it up to the sort of pasture level, but I've been thrashing away flies all the way. It's made it very difficult because some of them bite. So this is like a high Pyrenean walk zone. I'm carrying along here. Let's see where it takes me. That was a long climb. I've basically, well, I don't know if you can recognise the hills, but if you go all the way to the bottom of the valley, and I've climbed all the way up, and I've made it to this refuge, and I thought I'm going to have some lunch now. I'd love it if there was a tap that I could fill my water bottles with. Sometimes they do have little horse troughs or something, maybe something up there, I don't know. Anyway, those flies, they were a real pain actually. Constantly wafting and blinking things around, and horse flies, they get you, they creep up on you and land on you and bite you. It's just not fair. No forewarning. So I think I can light a fire. So I'm gonna have a hot meal. Yeah. Actually, come with me. Let's have a look inside together. Okay, here goes. Oh. Oh no. Well, this looks all right, doesn't it? Fireplace. Of course, it's all dark. Beds. So, if you fancy a night in the high mountains, look no further. Spectacular views. You've just got to get up here. Well, all in all, it's a very nice lunch stop. Can't really do any better than that, can you, for view? And so what I've got is me decathlon spaghetti bolognese here. Pasta bolognese. It's okay actually. So I'm going to eat this and enjoy the view. And then after, I'm going up there. Who knows where else after that. Well, I needed water, and my prayers have been answered. I don't know how pure this water is. I'm probably going to drop one of my little water purification tablets in anyway, just in case, because, well, I don't really know where it's come from. And there's no, usually they put a sign up saying that it's safe to drink. Anyway, this will be my water, my dodgy water bottle. I'm going to fill a couple of these probably. I've made it to the top. So came all the way. See, there's a village down there. That's the one I rode through. There's the refuge. That forest full of flies. Just about to see a track through there. What have we come up there? And now this is what I'm confronted with. I can see a path on that mountainside over there. I think I'm going to be not the one in the foreground, one behind it. I think I'll be going down there. Hey, let's do it, man. Ah, so I'm descending. I think you can see a path that follows the ridge over there in the distance. I suspect I'll be going along there. It's going pretty well today. Climb is good if it were not for the flies. The flies annoy me a lot, and I seem to have dropped my swishy stick, a piece of pine branch which I was rotting away. Yeah, it's a little technical. Get that way. That's better. Okay. Hello. Bon dia. Just thinking, what the hell is he doing up here? Okay. A refuge. It's just me and the cows. Did I hear a motorbike? Hello. Oh. Motorbikers. Unbelievable. Can't get away from the buggers. Here we are. I need to find out what altitude I'm at. I think I'll go along those roads and then down into Esprit. I'm quite pleased with the way I'm climbing actually. You know, it seems like nothing is too hard for me right now. Oh God. Well, I might as well show you around this refuge. It's got the usual stuff, you know, fireplace, and it's got some firelighters there, that's handy. And a bedroom. Couple of beds there. Looks like you can climb up to the roof if you so choose. So if you get snowed in, I guess. Oh yeah, here are the bikers. They're down there. Well, I don't think they're very tough. So I'm going to leave now. This is a hunch, but I think I'm going up that road. In fact, no, it's not a hunch. It's pretty obvious I'm going up that road, and probably the next one beyond it. Let's hope the weather holds up though. I'm slightly worried about that. There's some view. I do feel like I'm way high. Now I'm about 2,000 metres. I'm going to toil my way up there. So, onwards. Well, I just came round this bend to be greeted by this sight. Yeah, it's another road along a hillside. So that's about, I don't know, 8 to 10 kilometres of riding right there. Let's get on with it. So it's pretty terrifying actually. Hello there. I say. They've got some mean looking horns, those things. Beautiful cows sitting by their lake. Quietly chewing the cud. I made the call, and there, far below, lies Espui. This is the route I'm going to have to take. So, I shall say farewell to that barren landscape and head down to a warmer valley where hopefully I will get a hotel. Okay, see you in a bit. Well, this gives you a little idea about the descents. Rather than being able to absolutely cane it down these slopes on wonderful smooth tarmac, I'm having to be very chaste because, well, you can see it's just rubble and big rocks. There's not really much margin for error. And of course the panniers, they are taking a beating. So I keep looking back to make sure they're still attached, and there they are. I've managed to find a hotel. It's Hotel Val Fosca, and the guy in there, he speaks English nice enough. I mean, it's on the route, but I had to go further down the valley, and I actually popped in at one place, and you know, the internet suggested that it was a hotel, but he just says, no, I can't make any money out of being a hotel. He was very kind. He phoned this place and confirmed that there was a room. So I came down here, and the guys just said, look, you can clean your bike using that hose. So I'll probably do that actually. It's pretty messy. And put it in the storage area, and then I'm desperate for a drink. So we find ourselves in Hotel Val Fosca. What happened was I descended down from the top of that hill. It took flipping ages, and every time I looked down at the town of Espui, which was nestling in the valley, it looked like it was only getting very slightly bigger, even though I must have done about 30 switchbacks, more, I don't know. But my hands were cramping up. Anyway, when I eventually got down there, I saw a steep hill to get up there, and it was a bit of an ugly looking place because they're doing building works. They're putting in some kind of ski chalets or something. So I looked on the internet, and it looked like it had one lodging. It was unclear whether it was a hotel. And I just thought, well, look, I'll go down the valley, because I could see that there were hotels along along the way. So it was all downhill, blasted my way down there. And the next village along, there was an auberge which reputedly had rooms and brilliant food. So I went in there and I waited around for ages for this guy to finish talking to two Spanish people. Eventually he finished, and then I was civil with him. But he says, no, don't have any rooms, it's not worth it. I can't make any money out of hotelling. Just can't get the staff, blah blah blah. So I thought, oh, what a shame. And he says, but you could try here. So he opens up his book and there's all these hotels. And he found this one for me. And the guy spoke English and he said, yeah, I've got a room. So I said, right, okay. And I sort of slowly backed out of the conversation with the other guy. I said, bye, I'm off now. Thank you very much for helping. And then I came down the valley, and this is it. It's fine. I'll show you around. This room's going to be fine. It's got a bath, and I can't wait to drink something. I'm so thirsty. Anyway, I'll show you around. So here's the exterior. I'm not sure there's a pool even. Doubt if I'll go in there though. And then here's the bathroom. I haven't worked out how to. Oh, here's the light. Hang on. Oh look, there's a big bath. I wonder if there's any shaving equipment. Hey, shave. So this is the hotel. So you can obviously enjoy the pool. And it's right on a confluence of two rivers. The major one is over there. This one trickling down from that waterfall over there. It's quite pretty, isn't it? So because it might be a little awkward for me to film, but you can see the restaurant down there which I'm about to go to. They're all noshing away next to the river. And the bar's very pleasant as well. I can go in here without disturbing anybody. So yeah, I'm sitting outside over there, and there's the river. Another day dawns. Blue sky, a lovely river, stream. The hotel, very nice. Hotel Val Fosca. What impressed me was their incredible attention to detail. No sooner had I checked in than when I came down to dinner, my table had already been allocated and everything. It was really good. So, by the way, for continuity reasons, I need to tell you that I am the same person. I've just had a shave. So you have a clean-shaven narrator, okay? Or presenter. I've just got to warm the legs up, and we will be all good. Look at this, a nice 15% gradient start to the day. Another Pablo Aguero. I'm sort of expecting at some point in the not too distant future to go off-road, because that's what the map's indicating. So this morning, in summary, as I have been climbing steadily all the way practically on this road out of the valley, and just in my lowest gear, chugging along, wafting away the flies, and it's been very pleasant actually. Some guy tending his garden. That's more like it. Proper gradient for a change. Church. Okay. Let's have a look at the view. The church, the village. And so the off-road begins, just a little way on from Aguero, along a concrete path with lampposts. Then suddenly the road dips down this rubbly track. This is a bit of a pushing section. Don't think I can ride down here really. Not remotely. Water in my shoe now. Hey! Oh God, it's beautiful though. Oh dear! Oh my God! Okay, there you have a look. Oh. That's very steep. Good luck with that one. Panniers off first, do you think? Wow. I just managed to push it up. Blimey. That was the Wildcat. The Wildcat weightlifting contest. That's what I'll call it. Okay, so I mean it's always difficult to give you an impression of how steep something is with a camera, because the camera tilts and then you kind of see it as a flat thing. But I mean, that is seriously rubbly and steep, put it that way. Anyway, nice view. I'm not sure what lies ahead, hopefully a flatter track. I suppose the geologists amongst you are wondering what rock type this is. I'm going to say it's marl. Okay, marl. Micritic limestone. Okay, right, I'm off. I'm just taking a bit of a breather while I'm in the throes of getting this bike up this incredibly rocky track. Continues up here. The most important thing is to be very careful to avoid any injury. I don't want to knock any knees against any stones, twist any ankles. Everything's got to be very careful because the legs undergo so much torture, punishment. They need to be in tip-top condition. The other thing to watch out for as well is grounding out the cogs, the front chain rings. We don't want any of that. So that's a little piece of advice for people to be mindful of if they ever do this themselves. Well, that was a very arduous section of pushing with Aguero, in the background. So who knows what lies beyond here. Hello. Hola. Can I come through? Do I need to answer 3 questions before I'm allowed to pass? What's the square root of 756? I don't know. Look, I'm going anyway. Honestly, you should clear up this mess, you know. Disgusting. It's supposed to be an internationally acclaimed bike route, this is. Can't be down there. No, surely not. I've got to get over that hill. Well, maybe it is. Oh well. Well, if you thought it was over, it isn't. I've just got to head on up these red beds here. It's like red shales. A little easier than the other stuff because, you know, it's not as lumpy. Anyway, these flies are doing my head in. I'm definitely going to wash my top when I get a river opportunity. Not out of the woods yet. Okay, I've still been battling my way along this track, and this one looks really hard. Pretty dangerous actually. Oh god. I might have to take the panniers off this, I don't know. Maybe the track's a bit wider than it looks, particularly this bit here, you know. And you can bet your life there's going to be more of this on the other side actually. Well, it's really knackered. Bit of an upper body workout, this one. Not sure which way to go. Let's try this one. Oh yeah, this is the way. Oh yeah. There's more. There's more. I mean, flies, go away. Oh God. Down there. More pushing. Okay. I've made it. That was so arduous. Coming over that. And this is the view I now have. Let me see. Well, according to the map, I basically go down to the bottom of the valley, down there, where I really hope there's a stream, because I could do with a wash. But it looks like the descent, I may have to climb over some more rubble. But I'm just going to have a drink and slight recuperation. So yeah, I think I'm heading sort of that way, along the valley. Okay. Well, finally on tarmac again. That is a massive relief, because I was just a bit bored of pushing the bike over some incredibly difficult terrain, I have to say. You know, well, but it's the bike and the panniers, and it's just a massive weight. There's a lot of hoiking around, and I've got to be careful, you know, choose my footing carefully, make sure I don't damage anything. It's very difficult, and it was still the same on the way down. You know, there's a different skill required. Anyway, let's hope we head down to a beautifully picturesque valley where there are abundant cafes and beautiful clear streams. Oh God, rubble section. Terrific. I just couldn't be bothered to put tarmac on this bit. Oh God. Sorry about this, I'm going to have to switch you off. The trouble is I have to be on the brake, and I can't slow the bike properly with one. Right, off. Just thought I'd let you see the descent here. It's a pretty ropey tarmac surface, actually. Not very well used, so it makes you wonder where it leads to. See nowhere of any significance. Very red, all the geology here. It's all red. I mean, I've just so that you know, I mean, when I climbed over the rocks, I was climbing over marls, and then I was climbing over what looked like pyroclastics, you know, airfall tubs. And then obviously red beds, probably some sort of estuarine deposit, maybe lots of mica in the beds, oxidized, etc. And well, this is all red again. At least it's tarmac. Oh God. There's a little house. Let's just check the old GPS, and so it would seem that I'm out on the correct route, which is good news. Oh, what's that? It's like a little... Oh, if only they serve drink. Oh, it's camping. climbed past this village called Sentis, very steep climb, and I thought it's getting on for lunch, so I came across this little font. It's perfect really, because there's a lot of shade. I've got my own little tap, and the stove's working perfectly. It's gasifying like nobody's business, so there's no smoke to speak of, and I'll be able to have a nice hot meal. So all is well, and a nice view as well. Valley. If you look round about here, that's where I clambered over with the bike, and then I came down. There's a sort of a grassy plain there on the hillside. I skirted round that. Actually, you can see the road going round it. So that's how I got here ultimately. Massive climb back there, up a rubble section. I think my route continues down that way. So what we've done is reached a sort of pasture land up here. I can hear the cowbells, and of course there's the ominous silhouettes of incredibly high altitude hills over there, or shall we say mountains below the clouds. Finally made it out of the Sentis valley side. Made it over the pass, very rubbly and uphill, steep. And now I believe I'll go around this valley, and then you see there's a sort of road scar on the other side. I think I'm going to be going along that. Oh God. Well, I've been really toiling today in the heat, and the road is steep and rubbly, so I've just had a cool down in here. I've still got quite a distance to go, I think, but anyway, I feel a bit more refreshed now. Well, I've just had a refreshing bathe in that stream, because I was toiling up that rubble slope back there, and it was torture. The sun beating down on my back, the gradient's incredibly steep. My stomach's trying to cope with that strange dehydrated mashed potato and beef thing from Decathlon. So, you know, it's hot today. Probably needed a bit more water, but, you know, how could I have carried the bike over those... Shut up. Carried the bike over those hills, laden with all that water. So this is a bit of a struggle, but I feel better now. I should be able to make it around this hillside and get to Bonanza. Well, it's 3:30. And I've just made it out of that valley. That gate of the valley that was. In fact, most of the section has been really tough. But anyway, so here I am. It looks like I'm on a bit of a descent actually. And this is a forgotten place here. I thought you wouldn't see this unless you were doing something like this bike ride. Finally, we're on tarmac, and we're going down. Grid. It's pretty steep, so really grip the brakes to get the bike to slow down. I know for you it looks really slow, but that's because it's a wide angle lens. But believe you me, it's not slow. Oh, God. It's been a real tough day today. And it hasn't finished. Oh, weird. That is. Ah, it's a great slag. Wow. I'll give you a quick update. I've got to Pont del Suert, and I decided not to go the off-road route as an alternative, quicker way, which, you know, basically I'm too knackered to go over the hill. I thought I might as well go along the main road. Well, I got here in 2 seconds flat. Anyway, then I decided to get a drink, and still hasn't started raining. Anyway, in the process of manoeuvring my bike, I managed to completely break the camera mount, so it just means that I can't film myself. So I've just gone to a little place to get some super glue and some acetone. This probably won't hold, but anyway. So I should be about to rejoin the route, which gets me to Bonanza, where there are a few hotels, and with any luck, they will have a room. And anyway, this is Pont del Suert. It's really not a very, well, I wouldn't say, it's not a touristy town. It's like a hub town. So you have the nitty-gritty of life going on here, you know, trucks going through and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and also it's cloudy. When it's cloudy, things tend not to have as nice atmosphere. I don't know why. It's sort of impending doom or something. Anyway, I'm just sort of trying to figure out how to get onto the route. I've got a rough idea. I'm following the river, and it apparently is off-road, so it can't be too hilly. It's not that I couldn't do the hills, it's just like, you know, I've got to choose my battles. I can only do so much, and you know, the beginning of the day, God, that was really. I've arrived in Bonanza. That was not easy. It was a huge gradient all the way uphill, and it was a struggle, to say the very least. So this is Bonanza information board. So walking trails and so on. Eco hotel. Well, you know, I'm really into that. Actually, I'm into hotels with rooms. That's what I'm into. So I'm going to see if I can find one. Well, I secured lodging. It wasn't easy. There seemed to be one room. That girl down there, actually, she phoned this place. Casa Rincon, anyway. And she had a room. So, problem solved. Doesn't have a restaurant, but apparently this is the restaurant. I can eat in there. So, that's what I'm going to do. And yeah, it's all good. Bike's in here, tucked away. All right. And that was that. I'm about to use that. About time. Good morning. I've decided to leave early today, so I just came down to the breakfast room, and look, she's laid out my breakfast, and I think I'm supposed to operate this Nespresso machine, and I've got the tiniest amount of orange juice. Anyway, I'm going to eat this and get going. But anyway, I'm going to head between these trees now. It is actually a beautiful morning. I mean, there's golden sunlight being cast on these valley sides. In fact, I can see some peaks in the distance. That should be interesting. So let's get going. Wow, that is pretty stunning, isn't it? Okay, so we left the road now and took a sharp left, and now we're on this the usual kind of stony track. Progress back there. Further down that track, it was just like really stony and rocky and steep, and for a long period of time, maybe half an hour, I was pushing, and then eventually it was just about cyclable. And then I passed this couple who have one of those sort of trucks where they've stuck a tent on the back, and they said that the path gets better, and sure enough it did. It became sandier, and now there's grass covering it, so it's a bit more even. So yeah, it's been really slow and quite tiring, but it's very peaceful. Look at those massive mountains in the distance. Well, I've just been descending, really. I descended down through pasture land. It was beautiful, and then I was confronted by this view, which is very spectacular. There's some sort of town in the foreground, and I don't know which one it is. And then those very steep cliffs, and then beyond that, those wild-looking Pyrenean mountains. In fact, some of them even wilder over there. Extremely rubbly track. Mainly downhill though. I like the contrast on these sheer rock faces. So basically what happens is just extremely jolting descent over these rubbly bits, and then you'll have maybe 20 meters of incredibly steep incline, and you have to get in your lowest gear and do lots of pulling up and pushing down at the same time. And when I eventually reach the top, I am gasping for air, and then it's downhill again until the next one. It's quite tough going. Oh, and by the way, the town that we saw on the last clip, that was Gabas, and then I got assigned for a town called Sierra, which is where I'm heading now. Well, that must be the road that I'm heading for, and it's 9 minutes to 12, so yeah. This is a very steep descent. Okay, well, I'm on this main road. I think you may even have seen further back the same coloured railings that I'm seeing on this road. There's a lot of roadworks going on. They're doing something. I think they're putting in a tunnel and they're widening the road. But it's a very impressive gorge. Anyway, I've got this section now to climb, so I'm going to get on with it. It's going to be hot. Well, it's incredibly noisy. Got traffic, and you've got diggers
All kinds of stuff going on. There's a car coming now. That river looks so inviting, but no one's going to be swimming around here, that's for sure, or allowed to. Anyway, my route takes me where that white car's just coming from, so I'm going to head that way. I thought I desperately need to fill up some water because it is so hot, and then I saw a sign, Fuente Sensa, and then this old guy pulled up, and I think he said it's completely fresh, so I'll take him at his word and fill up. I've got to clean the old bottle first. Yeah, this basically is just a hole in the wall here. There. Fresh. Oh. Let's hope it's, let's taste it. No, it's alright. This is View. V-I-U. I've got plenty of water, so all I did was I soaked my hat in that. So I don't really know what it means. It means it's connected to a system of catering. I don't know what that means. Anyway, a view back down the valley. I came along the right hand side of what you're seeing, and it was all on tarmac and a lot of up and down. How am I feeling? Weary, very weary. It's 3 minutes past 3, and I reckon this is going to be pretty grueling. So the path starts to become off-road from here, so I better get going. This has been a total and utter nightmare. There is no way I can cycle up these hills, and so I'm just pushing on and on and on in a forest, flies going around me all the time. Wow, well, I finally made it up to the pass here, whatever pass this is. I've got no idea. I've just dunked my head underneath that tap over there, and I'm feeling extremely tired and slightly nervous about what I've got in front of me. So going over that hill will reveal all. Well, this is a bit better because it's not just up. I mean, it's manageably flat, up, down. It's okay, but still got quite a way to go. I think I've got to go all the way around this valley side, so I've just got to keep on plugging away. It's quite a distance actually, so onwards. That's looking back down the valley from where I have come, being chased by thunderstorms, I think. It was threatened. It's a bit nicer over in that direction where I'm heading. See that foal lying down over there? That's a rather impressive rock formation, isn't it? So it looks like the road sort of gently rises, and I think I must go over the middle. Let's do it. Well, I got myself a hotel, but not in La Spuma. It
was in this place is called Escalona, and it's a huge hotel actually, but needs a refit big time. So it looks like a sort of big restaurant and everything, and it probably requires a lot of staff and everything firing on all cylinders. So it gets mixed reviews, but to be honest with you, I don't care because I'm going to be sleeping here tonight, and that's that. And I'll be leaving in the morning. All I want is something that doesn't make me feel sick, fills me up, and no hassle. It's got a bath, so you know, it's alright, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to put you down and I'm going to do some thinking about what next. Well, a new day has dawned and a new plan has been formulated. I just thought I'd show you in this room. Actually, this is a social room, apparently. This is all rather nice. The rest of the hotel, yeah, could definitely do with a refit. You know, it's just not clean, and you know, there's scrawlings, biro scrawlings on the lift, and yeah, look, there's spiders' webs and stuff like that. It's basically people don't use this room. But anyway, the plan. I'll tell you it in. Okay, so the plan is I am gonna do 2 more days of cycling. I'm gonna cycle to Nerine, which is at the foot of that giant plateau. So that's what I'm going to do today. Then Friday I'm going to cycle over the plateau and I'll descend into the next valley. And then on Saturday I'm going to cycle to Sebinanigo, which is on the Jaca to Huesca train line. So then I'll catch a train to either Huesca or Zaragoza, and then I'm going to get a train to Barcelona, and I'll be doing that on Saturday. So on Saturday, depending what time I get there, wherever I end up, I will be trying to procure a bike box, and then by that time I will know what flight it would be feasible to catch. So I may already have booked it. But anyway, that's basically the plan. So let's see how we go. I filled up my water bottles. Probably should have something in my food bag just in case there's no lunch stuff. So I think I'm going to get going. So we are now about to head into, well, yeah, into Park Nacional Odessa y Monte Perdido, and let's see what happens. And it's going to be pretty extreme, I think. At least the second day of it is, and possibly even this one, I don't know. It's already pretty hot, so I hope the mountains cool me off a bit. I'll give you a treat. I'm going down here on one break, so if I die, it's your fault. No, just got to be careful, that's all. So this is the canyon. There are lots of cars that are coming down here. I can't resist it. To drive down an incredibly narrow road to see the wonders of nature. That's where the road continues, down that gorge. Wow, there's one spectacular gorge. Oh, the only disappointment, you know, if I haven't got flies, I've got endless cars. Right, you can come on this journey with me. Wow. That is incredible. Come on, mate. Hey. Beautiful. Luckily there aren't many coming in the opposite direction. Very narrow. Yeah, you can see them all canyoning down there. As I cycled up the valley, there was a long string of parked cars all the way up, and people changing into bathing gear and wetsuits, and that's because that's what they're up to. Okay, so here I am in Nerin. I'm just hopefully I'm waiting for some food which I ordered. So I arrived here, had a couple of cold drinks, and then I headed into town because the guy said it was full. And I tried the albergo, but at the moment it's closed because they're cleaning the rooms. So I need to wait until I can talk to them. I've tried to phone them, they're not answering. Apparently they'll open at 3, and then I hopefully can try and get a room there. But at the moment it's uncertain as to whether I can get a room there because they might be full. If they're full, I could try a couple of other places here. But so it's all a bit up in the air, which is a little bit irritating. So anyway, once I've stayed here, tomorrow morning I'll have a full day to get over this flank of Monte Perdido. I think this is going to be a really good thing to do actually for this trip, because I think there's going to be some stunning pictures. It's going to be quite cool, I reckon. And okay, let's take a look at the Wildcat. Let's take a look at the brakes first. See, there's still plenty of brake there on the front and on the rear. Bearing in mind that these pads came with the bike. The tyres, everything seems to be fine. A little bit more wear on the rear tyres, but you know, everything's good, no punctures. Chainring, it seems to be good. Put a bit of Vaseline on there a couple of times. That little chainring has taken a real beating. Paint job, there's a bit of crazing on the paintwork, especially at these flex points here and here. Everything else, it's all good. What a treat. Of course, it wouldn't be right unless I gave you a bit more detail. The saddle. This contouring perfectly fits my sit bones. My cheeks are fully supported, and I've been grabbing hold of this while I've been pushing up. On flatter surfaces you grab hold of that, on steep ones you push from the back with the right hand, and the grips, they've been working nicely. Nice support there, but of course the idea is not to put too much weight on these as you get numb hands. So yeah, it's all worked very well. Well, here we are at Anisclo Albergue, and I'm just sitting underneath this beautiful tree here, waiting for it to open. And it's a bit strange for me to be waiting and not doing, not cycling, but I had to wait because apparently they're closed, or cerrado until 4. And currently it's 4:45. But it's a funny time in Narin. They're redoing the road, so there's just a lot of road works noise, you know. If only it was peaceful here, but we couldn't have that, could we? But be thankful for small mercies, you know. At least I apparently have a room, because I phoned them already and they said they had one. So it's just this powerful smell of bitumen coming from the road menders. In fact, I'll show you. So, Asher, it's a heavenly view. Look, there's the road crew. And they've already sprayed the edges with bitumen. It's hot work on a day like this, though. And there's the valley I cycled down. You can quite clearly see that there's an unconformity or a fault, maybe a thrust fault, I would have thought actually. Yes, thrust fault between those beds and the ones coming over the top. It's what they call a nap in geology. And the path that I'm going to be taking on the bike is behind this building. Particularly like the chimneys, don't you? So yeah, I'm heading up into this barren landscape up there. Anyway, I'll put the camera down now. Okay, well, I'm in my room. Got plenty of beds, though I'm sharing a room with a guy called Anke. he's walking. So hopefully he doesn't mind people who snore. Nah, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I'm going to be heading up there tomorrow, and well, let's see what the evening holds in store for us. I think I'm going to use the facilities here, have a bath. Okay, so I'm going to get tarted up for the evening, put my DJ on and everything, you know. Should be good. Isn't that incredible? The moon rising. That is amazing. Morning at the refuge. Well, at the auberge. Still night, but breakfast is on its way. So I'm going to eat breakfast and get going. So we are ascending up towards the flank of Monte Perdido, but I thought this looked like a perfect moment to look back from where I've come from. The biggest sort of craggy, flat-topped peak, slightly tilted, that was the one that I came over the day before yesterday, just around the left side of it, actually, as well. So I'm just going to keep plugging away and get to the top, which is that way. Okay, still climbing. It's 8:10, and now the sun's just peeking above the hilltop. But this has been, you know, a success actually, this ascent, you know. I was kind of worried about the heat, so I left early, so it was just naturally quite cold because of the morning, but also the sun obviously lies in the east behind this hill, and so I've been sheltered from its rays. That is until now. Well, here's the story so far. Over there behind that hill, that's Monte Perdido, and then that way, that's going to be the ridge with a cliff on the other side, which will give us views of this amazing canyon. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, I'm at 2,190 meters altitude, and I came on that thing. So that's looking back sort of east, and yeah, I've got to head this way now. Well, I made it to this magnificent viewpoint. I'm all on my own. And you see the canyon and it just drops away. Can you hear that rumble down there? This is the stream, which you could just about make out right at the bottom. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's a good way to end this trip, because this is a real highlight. I mean, you got to say it's a real highlight. Just look at that canyon over there. That sheer face. Incredible. So, you see that waterfall on the other side of the valley. Maybe you can hear it. That's the noise. So I've just sat here and had some crumbly biscuits with water. It's the only way I can actually get them down my throat, by mixing them with water. Anyway, I better get going. So I've just been descending from the Monte Perdido flank. It's taken me quite a while to do that because it's so steep. Well, it's such a big road. There's somebody burning up here. Hang on. That is Torla Odessa. It looks like quite a nice town actually. So yeah, I'll try and get some refreshment down there. What a view. What a fresh, cool mountain scene that is. Just a tiny bit hazy, but you can see those great big stacks of limestone and shale. That's where I've just come down from. I'm not sure I was actually on that particular plateau. I was on the valley closer to us. But yeah, it's really beautiful here. I'm going to take a picture of this side as well. This looks interesting. Well, this marks my departure from this beautiful valley, the gorges and Monte Perdido. Shame about that. So yeah, I'm just about to go through this tunnel and I will head down to Sebinanigo. Okay, well I just came through Biescas. It's just full of restaurants, people eating. And now I'm on this major road. Sebinanigo is only 13 kilometers away. So I'm just going to push on and get there. It's pretty hot, that's what I'll say. And I've been so thirsty. I did stop on the way down the mountain and had a couple of lemonades.
I'd like to get to Sebinanigo as quickly as possible. This road is not going to be pleasant. Well, I'm continuing my long, arduous slog down this road, but it's a moment of importance now because I'm departing the Transpirenaica route. Well, I finally made it to Sebinanigo, and I cycled through the town. It's very linear, basically arranged along the railway track. And the railway, I believe, well, the station is that way. I haven't checked out hotels yet, but I thought I'm just going to put some calories in me because I'm feeling pretty tired. And so I decided to have a kebab, actually, and 2 orange juices. Well, actually, what I might do is see if there's a train to Zaragoza. So I'll wander down to the station first and see if there's anybody who speaks English. I can get some intel on what would be required to get the bike to Barcelona, whether I need a bike bag or something. I may not do, you see, but I could spend the night in Zaragoza rather than this place. It's a bit of a crap hole, to be honest. Thank God for that. I've just had 2 of those drinks, ice cold, and now there's kebab and chips. This is very good. This is almost a religious experience, this. Oh, thank God for that. So here's the situation update. Managed to procure a box from a shop in Sebinanigo. The guy just shrugged his shoulders and let me take it, but he wanted me to pick it up and not drag it. So I dutifully did that and left. I've also got some tape. The reason why I'm doing this now is because I sat in a cafe and realised that the best move was to actually just get to London via Ryanair, who have a flight out of Zaragoza. So since I'm staying there tonight, I'm going to do this again. Situation update. I have now got a box for the bike. I decided I would book myself onto a Ryanair flight from Zaragoza. So I'm staying there overnight and I will go from Zaragoza. The trouble is it's too early in the morning to get a bike box from Zaragoza because all the shops would be closed, and they would be closed when I get there, which is 9:30. So I got a box from a shop here. I'm going to pack my bike into the box now, and I am going to pick it up and carry it to the coach in 30 degrees of heat. But anyway, I'm glad I've got this box. This is always the problem. So I'm going to pack it now, and the problem will be solved. Well, this is not very good, is it? I've just arrived at Zaragoza station, and there are no taxis. And I phoned the hotel and they said, oh no, we can't help, we can't do anything. So I'm basically going to not have any help for maybe half an hour until I get angry enough to force them to do something about it. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe things will work out. But that's the hotel over there. So, well, I'm not really planning to pull this thing over there, but anyway. Well, as you can see, I've arrived at the hotel here. It's the Hotel Zentral, and amazingly I managed to find a taxi driver who was willing to put the seats down. But no sooner have I arrived than the lady at the reception here is completely occupied with somebody on the telephone. So I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to actually get into my room tonight, but let's hope it's fairly soon. Bienvenida a Zaragoza. I made it. Bike bag is downstairs in reception. They're going to get me a cab at 7:30. That's when I'm going to leave here.
and get to the airport. Apparently it only takes 25 minutes. Already checked in. Yeah, so I'm standing there at the station, and then a taxi turns up, and he said, I can't fit it in my car. I said, how about €20 to get me over there? And he says, yeah, okay. So that worked well, money talked. And so we got the bike in miraculously, and he drove me to the hotel, and everything was fine. Maybe I should go for a walk though, to see what Zaragoza's like. So I'm going to wash now. Until 35 degrees at 10:15 at night. So I'm just walking into central Zaragoza. The woman at reception told me that it was quite a long walk. So I said, that's not going to faze me, mate. But it is actually quite a long walk. And I have to, sort of reminds me a little bit of Rio, in that it's so hot. People just sit around outside in their underwear. Rowdy people. Still incredibly hot. Looks like a Roman wall. I'm definitely getting a taxi back. Restaurants, bars. Sort of newer road, this one. Now then. Is that a cathedral? Let's take a look. Wow, it is a gaudy thing. Wow, it's big, isn't it? Wow. This is a big square. Oh, look at the moon over there in the distance. So I managed to find a restaurant. This was recommended in Google. I thought it'd be more traditional than it actually is, but it's quite good. The guy really helped. He just took me right through the menu, and I ordered something there on the spot. And it's kind of quirky, actually. It's down one of the back streets. I've got the aircon blasting at me, so I'm happy. Well, it's 11:45 and they're still going strong here in Zaragoza, including the kids. It's just incredible. I've got to find a place where taxis are. I don't think that's a good place to go. I need a main road. The thing is, we're really deep into the evening and there's no feeling of tension on the streets. Like people have basically got sozzled and getting aggressive. It's not like that. They're just enjoying themselves, I think. And you know, you see kids as well. With parents, they're all out as well. So not loads of them, but you know, there are people doing that. I mean, think about it, this place is so hot. Honestly, you could wander around naked and be warm. In fact, some of the women are doing that. So I've got to try and find a taxi, because I'm not walking home, I can tell you that. No way. Yeah, I remember walking over these tracks. Oh, there's a taxi, right, okay, so there are such things. So I've just checked the bike in, it's just left over there. Apparently they don't sell bike boxes here. So I did the right thing to get the box, and well, it looks like everything's going to go okay. The one little wrinkle is that there's a national rail strike in the UK.
I've arrived at Stansted,
which
would
means
you believe? The only ticket I can't really get. And there's a rail strike, so there's no way of getting into London. There's replacement bus services on the routes that, you know, on the limited service that they are offering, and they won't accept bicycles. Therefore, I am going to cycle. So I've set myself up. I've got this thing charging with the solar charger, the solar panels, and let's see where we